It's been weeks full of surreal events in Europe. Vladimir Putin is power tripping once again, launching a full-scale invasion of neighboring Ukraine. The situation has devolved into a war, and the stakes are high. Putin has made it clear that he's willing to launch more attacks on other countries if they try to stop his advances. On the last weekend of February, the European Union, United States, and other countries placed new sanctions on Russia. One major move was the banning of Russia from using the international finance messaging system SWIFT. In this video, we're going to look at the importance of SWIFT and the effects of banning such a large country from using it. Hey guys, welcome back to Profit Protection. This is your go-to channel for all the latest news surrounding the thought leaders in the crypto, financial, and digital market space. We provide high-quality breakdown of events, people, and concepts that are important to you. Make sure to stick around to the end though, because we will be diving into the reality of Russia's financial situation and how Bitcoin and other cryptos may play a key part in it. If you're wondering whether Russia is going to start buying large amounts of crypto or whether Bitcoin is at risk of crashing, we've got you covered. So, without further ado, what is SWIFT? Let's explore the importance of this financial network. SWIFT is an acronym that stands for Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. The organization is often referred to as a cooperative society because it is jointly owned by over 2,000 financial institutions. SWIFT is based in Belgium, and the National Bank of Belgium is the institution that oversees it on a regular basis. There's plenty of involvement from other countries' financial institutions as well, such as the US Federal Reserve and the Bank of England. The main purpose of this cooperative society is to help facilitate payments across international borders. It is a common mistake to think of SWIFT as an international bank, but it is more accurate to call it a financial messaging system. Through SWIFT, banks and other institutions in separate countries can set up transactions and communicate the necessary details to complete them quickly. This streamlines the process for everyone involved and has greatly improved international payments for large entities. As of 2018, more than half of all high-value payments made across borders were utilizing the SWIFT network to do so. It is by far the most used system for initiating financial transactions internationally, outpacing all other competing networks of the same kind. So, why would a country be banned from using SWIFT? What are the effects of losing a spot in the system? As you can see, the SWIFT network is an incredibly useful system that helps facilitate a ton of payments across the globe. When a country is barred from using the system, it places a huge dent in its ability to move money for important financial transactions. This damages the country's economy due to how it restricts trade. The last time a country was banned from SWIFT, it made a great example of how effective a sanction like this can be. Iran was removed from SWIFT in 2012 as part of sanctions imposed by countries due to its nuclear program. The country lost almost half of its oil export revenues and 30% of foreign trade. This similar move made on Russia is certain to put downward pressure on its economy, which is already unsteady. The official statements from the European Union made clear their intentions with the Russia SWIFT ban. Here is the most relevant piece from the statements. We, as well as our other allies and partners around the world, imposed severe measures on key Russian institutions and banks and on the architects of this war, including Russian President Vladimir Putin. As Russian forces unleash their assaults on Kiev and other Ukrainian cities, we are resolved to continue imposing costs on Russia that will further isolate Russia from the international financial system and our economies. We will implement these measures within coming days. Specifically, we commit to undertaking the following measures. First, we commit to ensuring that selected Russian banks are removed from the SWIFT messaging system. This will ensure that these banks are disconnected from the international financial system and harm their ability to operate globally. Second, we commit to imposing restrictive measures that will prevent the Russian central bank from deploying its international reserves in ways that undermine the impact of our sanctions. Third, we commit to acting against the people and entities who facilitate the war in Ukraine and the harmful activities of the Russian government. Sanctions from earlier in the weekend, before the SWIFT measures were taken, created barriers between Putin and his financial reserves. For example, the US Treasury announced it will freeze all assets of the Russian central bank that are held anywhere or by anyone in America. Similarly, the Russian central bank is losing access to its euros as well. It's clear that these sanctions, particularly in regard to SWIFT, will have major effects on Russia. Let's explore the impact that this could have on Russia and other countries' economies. First and foremost, the removal from the SWIFT system damages Russia's trade relationships directly. Because the main mode of communication for financial transactions is now out of Russian institutions' reach, they have to find other routes. Russia actually has its own form of SWIFT for doing business abroad, called the System for Transfer of Financial Messages, otherwise known as SPFS. To give you a better idea of how seriously the ban has affected them, SPFS is only connected to about 23 foreign banks. SWIFT, on the other hand, is currently connected to roughly 11,000 financial institutions in 209 countries. While the Russia SWIFT ban is widely supported, that doesn't mean that it's all positive for the rest of the world. In particular, one issue is the void that will be left in the EU if these countries halt business with Russia. Currently, Russia is the main provider of natural gas and oil. Because energy prices are already uncomfortably high, some countries have been a little reluctant to separate themselves from Russia through the SWIFT ban. Sherazad Rehman, professor of international finance at the George Washington University, recently hopped on an NPR interview to discuss the Russia SWIFT ban and how it plays into global affairs. She shared a very educated perspective on the sanctions.
And so the new sanctions, by cutting off only a few hand-picked Russian banks from SWIFT, which are yet to be named, is of course very strategic to ensure that sanctions have the maximum impact on Russia while preventing too much impact, negative impact on European countries like Germany, which has historically very strong ties to Russia in terms of business, investments, and of course reliance on Russian gas. European businesses will continue to collect money owed and buy Russian energy. So Germany has the most to lose, with Italy coming in second with their reliance on Russian gas. Now, the French and the UK, by the way, have less ties, and so they're all for kicking all the banks off SWIFT.
So, and something else that you alluded to, I wanted to ask you if you'd flesh that out. Is there a potential for unintended consequences? Does barring Russian banks from SWIFT carry risks for other countries or other banks that are not intended targets of this?
So all banks are going to get hurt. Commercial banks are going to get hurt from this sanctions because they are barred from doing business. And anytime you're barred from doing business with a big player like Russia, and remember, this is an unprecedented move. We have never done this to such a large country. It's the 12th largest economy in the world. It's one thing to do it to Iran. It's a different thing to do it to Russia. So yes, unintended consequences, slower growth, less business for U.S. banks and European banks, allowance of other systems to be put into place which are not entirely desirable, like the crypto market.
Russia may now look for other ways to facilitate payments across the globe. It may have lost the ability to use SWIFT, but all other means of connections are still available. You can't ban a country from calling or messaging partners. This leaves a certain mode of international trade as a possible option, cryptocurrency. If Russia leans into cryptocurrency for facilitating international transactions, what does that mean for the crypto market? When Russia originally invaded Ukraine, both the S&P 500 and the crypto market took a dive. This lasted for most of the week, but both rebounded. Bitcoin in particular regains plenty of ground, even despite the new sanctions and Russia's SWIFT ban. If Russian companies and financial institutions begin to pick up Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies in large amounts, this could greatly increase the market cap of crypto. The spike in price would be unlike anything we've seen in recent years, if done all at once. Many people online are pointing to Bitcoin's global reach as an opportunity for Russian financial institutions to continue business as usual. Despite how the fundamentals of Bitcoin could lend themselves to being a useful option for the Russian economy, there are simply too many issues in reality. It is estimated that Russia conducts roughly $50 billion in foreign exchange transactions every day. This is nearly equal to the entire value of all Bitcoin transactions worldwide, even during peaks. For this reason, it appears very unrealistic that Bitcoin could be a worthy alternative for Russian financial institutions. The market cap is not sufficient to support all the needs of banks and corporations in Russia, and billion-dollar companies will struggle to convert all their reserves and direct all transactions into and through digital wallets. This very well could be something that Russia slowly transitions to, but in the near future, it does not look like a likely alternative. It seems as though the invasion of Ukraine by Russia is not going to have a major impact on the crypto market at the moment. That being said, there is no telling how the situation will evolve. It's important to recognize the fragility of this real-world situation. It's easy to feel a wide degree of separation from world events when they aren't happening on your doorstep. Even more so when you're looking at it from a financial markets perspective. Money, wealth, and assets are societal concepts. They have real-world implications, but they will never be as real as the loss of human life. Putin has used his power as the leader of Russia to devastate a country with senseless violence. Be thoughtful as you discuss financial markets and cryptocurrency when speaking of the situation in Ukraine. Furthermore, it is anyone's best guess how this war will evolve. Trade with caution and make sure to keep emergency funds separate from financial markets and assets that could plunge if the situation escalates. This channel here is for educational purposes and should not be taken as direct financial advice. We truly appreciate each and every one of you that tunes in to learn more about the world of finance, crypto, and digital assets. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe so we can continue to bring you high quality content. Once again, thanks for watching Profit Protection. We'll see you in our next video.